What area was it?
What area was it? Very good.
Like,
We want to look, oops, wrong highlight code. We want to look at the area. What area was it? So it says area, but it could have been a cafe or a storefront. It could have been a cabin out in the woods. It could have been a haunted house made of chocolate. That's what it looks like anyway. Or it could have been at a table in a restaurant. So there are so many things an area could be, right? It could be where you guys are right now, where I am. It's not very specific, precise. So, what are some other questions about the sentence you might have?
what was the creature?
What was the creature? Good point. The creature, we don't know the creature. It could be this jumping elf-like person. It could be a nasty troll. It could be a deer. It could be that's like a lizard or something, I think. Or it could be a walking detour sign. So there are a ton of things that a creature could qualify as. I guess you could call me a creature. I mean, creature is a very, very vague or not clear way of saying your subject of the sentence. So, what other questions are there in the sentence?
Yes. Go over. No. Move over close. And ask your question. Yeah, stand up.
Why did he enter?
Why did he enter? Excellent. So we want to ask maybe some of the W's. So why is an excellent question. Why? Also maybe when. And then of course with area we have where, but we want to be more specific with that. Probably also how. So enter isn't very specific as far as that gets. Maybe we could do something like hopped into the area or swam. Or there are a ton of better ways to say enter, more descriptive ways. So those are just a few of the questions that we might have. And we can answer those questions. We can improve the sentence by adding description. So how do we add description?
Yes.
You could give details.
You could get details. Excellent. Adding details is the first step in making writing descriptive. Oops. So tip number 1, add details, as you said. Excellent job. So details give a story life. They make it more interesting and lively. Before, my sister had a smile on her face. Okay, that's fine. After, my sister smiled like a cunning chihuahua. I've never seen a cunning chihuahua, so actually most of the ones I've seen have probably been smart, but I don't know, so I haven't seen them smile. I've seen them bark a lot. But if you think about that, it makes it kind of more interesting, right? It's not every day that you see your sister smile like a cunning chihuahua. So details makes them more interesting. Because a lot of authors will probably say, my sister had a smile on her face. But when you add that little detail, it makes it both more descriptive and more lively. Details make a story unique. Unique means special, kind of set apart. Before, my grandmother drove us to the amusement park. Okay, well that's something that could happen to pretty much anybody, your parents, your grandmother, whoever might drive you to the amusement park. But afterwards, my grandmother drove us to the amusement park in her old Dodge Dart, which smelled like a poodle. Not everybody's car is a very, very old model or smells like an interesting fluffy dog. Details make a story exciting. Before, the cat jumped on me. Okay, how many of you have ever gotten jumped on by a cat? I see a lot of raised hands, right? You know, actually, for about, like, let's see, there was a cat who was 19 years old, so very, very old, that my grandpa had, and actually recently passed away, unfortunately. But this cat, Barley, he was blind, and he was very, very grumpy too. I mean, he was really nice once you got to know him, but he would often, because he was blind, he was a little bit, if you sat down next to him, he wasn't sure who you were really, so if you started to pet him, sometimes he would claw and hiss at you. So that's happened to probably a lot of you guys with an experience like that. But how about this? The huge, hairy cat sinking its blood-stained claws into my sweater. I added the blood-stained for effect. I thought it made it a little more scary. So how many cats jumped on you that had blood-stained claws and were super hairy? I see, it looks like maybe 3, 4 raised hands. Oh wow, that is some turnout. You know, I was actually surprised that there were any. So maybe some of you have gotten jumped on by a blood-stained claws cat. And the reality is that probably most of us haven't. But for those of you who have, then reading that is kind of special because you know that you're one of those people who have experienced that very exciting event. So as you see, details make a story exciting, unique, and it gives the story life. So there's a lot of reason to add details. So let's practice. The tiger yawned.